This is seriously the summer of sequels. Every movie sequel that I have seen this summer has improved on its predecessor in numerous ways. You gotta love that. Hello once again, watchers of good movies. My name is Nick Pell, and this is once again coming from my white room. Now, today I'm going to be talking about The Purge, Anarchy. This is the sequel to The Purge, which came out a few years back, and that movie introduced the idea of an alternate US where on one day in March, I think it's March 22nd, there is a 12-hour period between 7 p.m. and then 7 a.m. into the next day where all crime is legalized, including murder, and it's basically a way for people to let out all the rage and hatred and all that stuff that they've been building up over the years, so that crime is at a very, very, very small number and the unemployment rate is very low. So this is the sequel to that. It takes place a year after the events of the first film. We don't see anything of the family that we saw in the first film, and that kind of bugged me. I would have liked to see at least the homeless guy that they ended up saving at the end of the first movie. That would have been kind of a cool cameo, for me at least. Also, I watched the first Purge movie just a few days ago, so I'm just, I guess, marathoning it a little bit. I saw the first one, and now I'm seeing the second one. The story in this film is also a lot better than in the first film. The first one was really predictable. I was like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen. This one was actually really entertaining for me. I found myself really engrossed in what story there was. Basically, Frank Grillo's character, he is on a mission. We don't know what the mission is. And throughout his night, he ends up coming across 4 different people. 2 of the people are a mother and daughter, and the other 2 are a couple. And he ends up saving them from killers, and he tries to get them to safety along with carrying out his mission. And that's what the majority of the story is, while they try to survive this purge night on the streets. I thought it worked really well. All the characters had decent chemistry with each other, and I liked Grillo's character because I thought that he played like the tough guy who doesn't really want to reveal a lot about his past. I thought that that was kind of a neat feature. Towards the beginning of the movie, there is one moment where there is kind of a shaky cam-esque thing, and that kind of bugged me and threw me off a little bit because it just looked really bad. And it only happened one time that I noticed, but don't do shaky cam, please. I hate shaky cam so much unless it's done really well. Also, the other gripe that I really had was the blood. It looked kind of fake and CGI at times, so that kind of threw me off. Just a few times where we see people get shot up close and we actually see the wounds happen as they get shot. That looked a little bit fake. But the movie overall is kind of a message about rich versus poor. If this type of system was to be implemented, it really would just be the rich who can afford all these weapons and can afford protection and can just abandon the poor folk who can't protect themselves well enough to the slaughter. And it's just a very interesting way to approach the topic, and it does it a lot better towards the end of the film than I was at the beginning. In the first film, we saw this kind of richer family being still invaded by purgers, and so we see that the rich are not completely immune to the whole thing, but the idea that all of them could possibly begin to be attacked at some point, and just people who are being killed just fed up with the whole system. That's a really cool idea and a good setup for a third movie, if that is to happen. Throughout the movie, there is this hidden revolutionary who is spouting messages. He is hacking into the computer and the TV and trying to intercept that stuff and promote his message of stopping the purge and taking the fight to the rich folk and the politicians who are endorsing this thing, which is killing hundreds of people, thousands of people, and it's just a terrible thing. So that's kind of dwelled on throughout the movie, and it comes back in kind of a fuller force towards the end of the film. The movie did kind of start out a little bit slow, but that was just to kind of introduce the characters and show us who all these people are. We don't really get any introduction to Grillo's character, Sergeant. So that kind of bugged me, but kind of kept his mysterious allure. And we didn't really know how he was able to fight and take down all these people with fairly easily skill. And so that was kind of a cool mystery element, but I would have liked to see the timeline sped up a little bit quicker to get into the whole Purge night situation. That being said, this is a horror film, or supposed to be one, and it does do some really stupid things with some of its characters. Two instances which come to mind is one where two characters are in their apartment and there's a guy coming in trying to find them. One of them literally shouts to them, "Hey, we have guns, don't come in here," when he had no idea where they were. So that part kind of annoyed me at just trying to create conflict, if anything. And then, second part, there's a scene where the characters are walking and then they see some homeless people that are just trying to hide and stay out of sight, and they do a really good job with that. And then these people start driving up, these killers start driving up with a flamethrower and guns and machetes and stuff, and then the homeless people just all bail out and try to run when they're perfectly hidden. That part just kind of annoyed me, just at the attempt to produce more violence than really necessary. The simple chase sequence probably would have sufficed. But I don't know, that was just one part of the film which kind of annoyed me in just trying to create more death and violence than really necessary in this film. So yeah, that is my review of The Purge Anarchy. Overall, I had fun with the movie. I really enjoyed it. And it was a fun movie to go to. If you have seen the first Purge and didn't really like it because it was so home invasion-y and took everyone kind of out of the whole Purge idea, probably go into this one and you'll probably like it a little bit more, just because we are on the streets and we see what is happening during the Purge and seeing the chaos that is enveloping the city and the country pretty much. So yeah, that is my thoughts. If you have not seen the first Purge also, you don't really need to see it to go into this one. It just kind of sets up more of the idea in the first one, and so it doesn't really have to draw on it that much or introduce it. That's my review. Let me know what you thought of The Purge Anarchy down in the comments down below. Did you like it more than I did? Did you hate it more than I did? Let me know. Like, favorite, comment, and subscribe if you so choose. I'd appreciate it immensely. And as always, my good people, my name is Nick Pell, and once again, keep on watching.